So one of the big things I love to talk about when we're going over hydration, right, is before we even start talking about what to drink, I think one of the big things is what do you like to drink out of? You know, there's lots of different options, and you can see the pictures here. Is it a gallon jug? Is it a metal bottle? Is it a squirt bottle? Is it a water bottle? Is it a cup? You know, everybody kind of has what I call your own little vessel or your own option that you prefer to drink out of the most. Okay. And where I try to start a lot of athletes with is find what that specifically is. Right. And if that's what you like to drink out of, that's what you need to try to have on hand with you at the most common places that you're going to be throughout the day. All right. So if you're thinking about an athlete and everyone's environment is different, whether they're in high school, whether they're in college, whether they're in the pro setting, each environment is going to set you up for success, or you may have to do a lot more planning ahead, right? If you go to a professional, let's say NFL facility, they're probably going to have Gatorade coolers at pretty much every possible entrance you could have, right? Because in that environment, they're trying to encourage the athletes to always grab fluid all throughout the day and all throughout the time that they're going to be in that facility so that they're keeping on top of their hydration throughout the day, right? Whether it's hydrating to be prepared for the lift, before the practice, for the competition, or if it's after practice, after competition, after practice, or lift, how are we now then rehydrating to get our bodies back to baseline to assure ourselves that we're in a hydrated state and prepared and recovering and ready for the next bout of training going into the next day. Because the worst thing you want to do is be 5, 10 pounds down from your typical weight, don't hydrate, go into the next training session dehydrated. And again, that can lead to a variety of different negative effects on your performance, your mental health, your risk for injury, illness, things of that nature. Right. So, or you could have essentially like a high school athlete, right? They may have some water fountains at their school, but if they're not consciously having a bottle with them all throughout the day and refilling that bottle, then are they really going to be in a position to be able to hydrate the entire day so that when they have practice in the afternoon or a game later that night, are they really going to be hydrated for that game? That's the questions I want you to think about and ask yourself, like, am I doing that? Right. So if I bring bottles with me, right? So if I think about a regular day, usually at breakfast, lunch, and dinner, those are three opportunities throughout your day. For the most part, most people are going to have some type of liquids or fluids with their meal. But if you look between breakfast and lunch and dinner, right? Sometimes, especially in the morning or afternoon, I've seen athletes, from a lot of the assessments I've done, they could have anywhere between 3 to 8 hours or more, depending on the day or the situation, where they don't carry any fluids around with them. And now there's that entire time where they're not drinking anything and they're just constantly in a dehydrated state. And then now they're going into class or now they're going into practice or a game. And then now they feel terrible, headaches, tired, exhausted, fatigued, heat related illness. I could name a bunch of different things you might possibly feel from a symptom standpoint, but it's just not going to put your body in your mind in a good position to perform at your best. So, when we're thinking about finding your vessels and your strategies, what I'll tell athletes is like, all right, where are you most often throughout the day? So if you're thinking about it, you're at school. Okay. What do you carry with you at school? Your backpack. Most backpacks have two pockets on the left and right side. Hey, can you stick a water bottle on the left and right side of your backpack? Maybe it's a Gatorade squeeze bottle. And with that Gatorade squeeze bottle, right, you can constantly keep refilling it throughout the day. If one runs out and you don't have the ability to fill it up, then you always have the backup with the second one, which is why you always bring two. Okay. Maybe it's two plastic water bottles, and that's what works for you, right? Find what works, find what you like to drink out of, because that's going to encourage you to do it. Okay. So if we're out and about, we got our backpack, right? We can always pack fluids in there. All right. Other places, the sports facility or the locker room. Can I have a gallon jug or another squeeze bottle in there? Am I always in my car several times a day? Can I have water in there? Right. So if you're thinking about the most common places you're going to be throughout the day, your dorm or your apartment or your house, right? Sometime in your locker room, whether it's going to classes and go to school, right? if you're able to think ahead and know where all those possible obstacles are going to pop up, and you're able to plan ahead and have the right vessels or water bottles or whatever you like to drink out of with you, now you're reducing the chance of you not having it and putting yourself in the best possible position to hydrate for whatever the activity is and rehydrate directly after whatever that activity is. Um, the big thing I'm going to typically recommend, just because we use a lot of plastics, and a lot of our foods and a lot of our fluids sit in plastics, the more you can shift the type of things you drink out of to more of your metal type bottles, is going to be a lot better choice than constantly drinking out of a plastic bottle. But again, the main point that I want to get across, because people just struggle to drink fluids in general, is just having something to drink out of. That should be your starting point, and having a plan on how you're going to do that should be the two big most important things that you're thinking about on a regular basis so you can keep on top of it.